I actually hear more stories of people passing away from casual cocaine use than people that are in active addiction with opiates, using fentanyl on a daily basis.
Study. DC has the third biggest drug problem in the U.S.
Well, you know you can't be like me.
My name's Daniel Gorsky. My zesty story is the world that DARE taught me about in elementary school has really come true. When I was learning about drug education for the first time, it was in the form of police officers coming to my elementary school and middle school and teaching us about abstinence of substances. They didn't teach us about any hierarchy of substances. They taught us that all drugs were equally dangerous. That wasn't true for a really long time. Honestly, I think that if I was to get a better appraisal of substances when I was a kid, I maybe wouldn't have felt so cavalier in experimenting with everything. When I was a kid, I remember when I first started experimenting with drugs, the margin of error was so wide, and I think that experimenting with drugs is such a normal part of being a young person, and for some people it's part of growing up. But now the world that they prophesized has kind of come true. I've never really been in the game of telling people not to get high. I think it's your own personal choice. If anybody's experienced physical dependency on substances like I have, then I recommend maybe trying abstinence, if only for a period of time, because I think it would be helpful. I've been sent to rehab. I've been forced into recovery programs throughout my life. It started when I was 18. When I was a teenager, I started experimenting with drugs pretty heavily. And so that's when I felt like I wanted to start experimenting with acid and mushrooms and all the hippie psychedelic drugs. It also coincided with my first period of feeling very depressed, and I didn't know what depression was. DC has a long history of punk and heavy music. We have two flavors here, hardcore and go-go, especially with hardcore. DC invented hardcore, and I love both, but I ended up mainly participating in the heavy music scene, and that was my whole life before last year, where I ended up really descending into active addiction, and after getting out of active addiction, that's how I ended up pursuing harm reduction and recovery services full time. And that is my zesty story.